Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So we're going to do a simple, kind of like a late summer landscape here. A mystical pond, reflections with a little birch tree and like a nice little fence. I kind of lost some of my fence in here, but that's okay. Sometimes you don't really need to have everything perfect. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. Yeah, it's just I thought it would be kind of fun. I can show you how you mush a paintbrush to get these really cool, simple leaves. And all that good stuff. And you don't have to paint like every nook and cranny. It's really kind of loose and fast. So if you have any questions in the comment section, without further ado, let's get started. All right, so you have the photograph that I found on Unsplash, which I like. Kind of like it looks like late summer to me. That's why I liked it. Simple, muted tones and some greens, and that's why I picked it out. And I like the composition, so it's like drawing your eye over here to the left. Right in here like this. And again, don't get so bogged down that everything has to look perfectly, okay? So Patreon members, you get this traceable here. You don't really need it though. You guys can just look at the photograph, draw some simple lines that go like this. I actually didn't finish this one. So Patreon members, you're gonna have to fix this yourself. And I'll just go in here and fix my little lines. Simple, really easy. So how would I tackle this? It's pretty much like, it's almost like white. You could put a color blue there, like a pale blue. So I might grab my Princeton 12 Neptune series and just loosen up some ultramarine blue deep. Just really pale. Oh, don't even bother with the blue itself. I'm just gonna loosen this up. I'll just put a nice little wash of blue in here. Really kind of like dry brush some of it in there. Just a pale blue. Simple. Now that I have that color out, right, I would take, actually I'm going to remove some of the color. Burnt sienna is like your friend here. Just loosen up this burnt sienna. Almost like a pale beigey color. You can see some grays happening in here, but really I'm just going to loosen this up. I'm going to go right over all this stuff here. I have like this birch tree that's coming here, so I don't want to hit that. I get this nice beigey light color. You always want to do lights first. Maybe add a little bit of yellow if you have a cadmium yellow deep here. I'm adding a touch of that. Just in this section here where the light is almost like highlighting it, making it like a yellowish color. So just grab a tip of my brush, a little bit of yellow. See that yellow there? Kind of going in here a little bit. Going like that. I can just fill it out over here. No big deal. Like again, I'm moving around from my tree here. I can remove some of this yellow, and I can use this burnt sienna again. Going up here, we have this lovely area. It's kind of brown. If you want to add a little bit of burnt ultramarine blue deep, get this nice little. Again, don't hit that tree bottom part. You want to keep that nice and white, and you can just bring that paint right over in here. Just a light beigey brown. I'm grabbing my ultramarine blue deep and making it more of a brown. I don't have a brown, but more of a, not as red, muted. Just a light wash of this color. It's a lot of like neutrals happening here. Don't want to touch this area because it's a reflection of the water and it's almost white. So I can put this muted brown, maybe add a little bit more burnt sienna in here too. Play around with the browns. It doesn't have to look perfect. I'm going to put that in here. I'm just going to loosen it, go like this. I'm taking my brush, moving it across. And then I'm going to add more blue again to get it's going to change it. It's more grayish brown kind of tone over in here. Already we're filling this in pretty quickly, right? The browns here. Fill those in. Even on the little poles here, just filling all those in, and go out here. This walkway, or this is very light pale gray. I'm adding a little more blue, and I'm just going to put that color all the way out here. Kind of leave it white, really pale. We'll get a little bit darker on these ones over in here. It's multicolors happening with browns. I'm going to go back and add some more burnt sienna. Now there is greens in here, but they're like really muted, almost like olive. So we can play with that too. I got that burnt sienna. I'm gonna grab a little bit of the blue. See how I just tapped a little teeny bit? Goes a long way. I'm gonna put some of that, a little more blue. This is very damp. I was gonna kind of blend some of this in here, but it's so wet. We can try it. Just a little bit goes a long way. All right, we can put some of this color in here too. I don't mind just washing in some of this brown over in here. And tap a little bit back in here, just doing a little taps. I do want to get up this muted browns. It's like a misty kind of happening there. So we get back with the burnt sienna and a little bit of blue. A little more blue. So you have to play back and forth with this brown. And you see this edge that's created here. It's a little bit darker than I had before. I'm going to kind of blend it going down. Clean off my brush. Just kind of move that so it's more of a mystical look. And go right in there. It gets a little deeper down in here. I don't want to fuss with it too much. And you can just kind of move this paint out here if you want. And we've lost some of our little bright orangey kind of halo. If I add even more blue to the same color, look at it, it's changed again. It's so much fun to play with these two colors. I talk about this all the time. It's like my favorite go-to to play with beige, beiges, browns, and grays. See, I'm mixing them back in there. Go in here and add some deeper tones. I do want to mix up some greens now. If I go back and add a little bit more burnt sienna again. This is kind of dry. We can start to play with some shadow in here a little bit. So I went like this. I might take the brush, add a little color and dry brush it like this for the road. So I'm using Fabriano's, I'm sorry, I didn't mention this, Fabriano's bright white 100% cotton cold pressed paper. And it has a nice tooth to it, so here I can do this dry brush like this for the road. Less traveled. A little bit here. Coming in there, and it gets a little bit deeper here still. And we have a nice little piece of wood kind of going here. Again, don't get so technical. We're kind of just doing like a loose sketch. So now I'm going to mix some muted greens. I'm going to do some Prussian blue, cadmium yellow deep, and I'm going to add some burnt sienna to it. Gotta love this color. Make a more muted green that you see there. Get a little bit of this green. I'll tap it on my paper towel, get off all the excess water, and I'll start to put some of this color in here. Just kind of move it like this. Although it looks very brown, it is green, some of it. And we got some greens happening in here. I'm just taking my brush, just going slightly like this, lightly sideways. I'll put some of this green in here. Up in here, it's going to get browner too. I'm going to go over here and just fill it in some greens like this and like that. Now I'm going to add some burnt sienna again, ultramarine blue deep, getting that brown tone. Kind of lead it in here with the green. See, I'm just tapping the paper so lightly. A deeper color, even over the green that we just did. Just like that. And I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm getting some water on my brush. I'm going to kind of blend it going up here. I do want to grab some more burnt sienna. Mix that right there and kind of just get this a little deeper here in some parts. And then clean my brush again, kind of blend it. So you get that that misty area right here. This is a little bit deeper, and it goes back here. And we can play around with browns and whatnot happening over in here, the green. We lost some of our bright yellow. We can put some of that back in. It was very muted. And use some of these browns that you see kind of back here. Again, tapping, lightly tapping, taking our time. Put some of the browns here. And then we've got to add a little bit more blue for the grays. And I don't have to make this perfect, but you just get the idea. I feel like we need to do a little wash of some deeper browns in here. We can go over this with the... There we go. Even though if we're going over the post, it's no problem. Add a little more burnt sienna again. It's quite a few different layers we're going to put in here. Just get that energy going like this. All right. So my yellow looks kind of meh. It needs to be more of an orangey. So I'm going to add some burnt sienna and cadmium deep. Just the tip of my brush. Burnt sienna and cadmium deep. So I'm mixing it till I get like a mustardy yellow. Oh, it's a little intense. Water it down just a bit. And that seems more like it. You could add some pink in there, but you get that sunny part, that's that strip right there. And a little bit, you can add some yellow back here to give it some sunshine. All right, I'm going to move on to the lovely greenery and just doing some like texture over here and then texture for the tree. All right, so mix up some browns again, ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. And we're going to do our little fence here. It's going to get much darker in tone, but it's good to put some color down first. I might even get a little really deep. It feels very light. I need to move a little bit more blue. It's a gray or brown. So I'll add that. I'm still using the 12 brush. Put the color in here. I'm doing the side ones here. Get all those posts in. And this walkway thingy here. And I'm going back in here and adding some more depth with this. And I'll start to play with adding more depth over here with the poles over here. More grays. These are pretty light. Like again, let's not get so super literal with our paintings, people. I'm adding some more gray tones here. More of a dry brush kind of technique. And a little more browns. You have to get so literal with every painting that you do. And I'm going to take some water and just kind of wash this area. Some of my grays. And a little bit more in here. So again, two colors that I love. You're playing with this until you get the colors that you want, the gray tones. Just a little bit deeper, etc. This will get much darker after I'd let it dry for a bit. Just tapping in. Like I had some greens in here, like I said before. Make a little bit more green, even more browns. Mixing these two colors, get some more brown. I would just grab some burnt umber, which is nice. Burnt umber, or even Payne's gray. Payne's gray is a great color. So there's the Payne's gray. We'll get some of that deeper brown in here. Playing around with that a little bit. Adding the gray. Some deeper gray tones happening in here. Little teeny ones back here. All right, we're gonna go on to the trees now. So I have this old crappy brush, and you want to kind of grab a crappy old brush or something that you can kind of go like this to and wreck it and destroy it, kind of push it down. So I'm using Prussian blue, yellow, and some burnt umber. And you can play around with that. I'm going to add a little bit ultramarine blue deep too. Really thick consistency. You can water it down a little bit. And you kind of mush the paintbrush like this. See, I'm just pushing it down and mushing it. It creates those leaves. So much better than trying to do every individual leaf. So it gives you a nice texture. Same thing even out here. Yep, I didn't like that little line. I just kind of push that out a little bit. And you get these really kind of cool, simple leaves. Just mush the brush. It's like you're pounding it almost. See that? Cluster in some areas. And you're kind of mushing it other areas. Now it comes out over here in the little fence. This brush isn't the greatest to do this. I might find another one to mush it. But it giving you an idea of like how I would do this, some kind of leaves like that. Just get a crappy brush and you kind of mush it. I have to find another crappy brush. It is an old brush, so I'm going to get some water on here. And I'm just going to push down in the middle of it. Just kind of wreck it. And you get these. Again, see how you just kind of like this. Kind of mush that brush across. If you want to make it a little bit lighter, add some yellow with these ones. A little bit lighter leaves. But even down here, I'm going to add some more burnt sienna. Get these olivey kind of light green. Kind of mush this brush. Get some yellows, olives, and coming in here. And I'm just kind of mushing it around. There is some yellow. I'll add some yellow and burnt sienna. Put it back here. And then I'll put a color on top of it. But really kind of here, I'm going to grab my Prussian blue, my yellow, and my burnt sienna. I'm sorry, my burnt umber or whatever. Get some real deep greens happening here too. Nice to kind of mush a brush. Let's get your get your frustrations out on the brush, because it's a crappy brush, right? And in between this little railing over here, just kind of go like this a little bit. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's coming out on the bottom. It's coming out on this railing. Push this one down a little bit. Add some of the lighter green. So I'll have to water this down and then mush my brush. And we'll get the green coming out this way. If you want to put bright yellowish green, add some cadmium yellow deep. And some peacock blue. And then up here I'm going to go just kind of mush my greens. I'm going to water this part down. Just kind of move it around like this. Grab more water and just kind of push it like that. Because you really can't see what is going on over here. It's really dark. And add some blue. And that good stuff. Right? Get some green coming there. And that's how I would make the simple leaves. Just kind of pushing it. And so the same thing will happen on this side. See, kind of just push this brush down, destroy it. And I'll add the little leaves coming up here. It's really great, it's fun to do. Get your frustrations out. I might even add some Payne's Gray. Get it deep over here. Now, it's supposed to be a reflection of it, so you gotta kind of go like this the same way that you see happening. Maybe add a little, oops. Payne's Gray to that color. Excuse me, I've got too many other colors happening here. Or even have a lunar black. Get some browns. Okay. Smushing this brush. And we're going to mimic what is going up here and kind of going down here. This way, it's fun to have a little one brush that's kind of destroyed a little bit. And I'll get some lighter greens happening this way. Sporadic ones from the branches. And of course, it's deeper and darker on the right side. Now for the details, I'm going to go back in and make those two colors, nice ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna for the browns, and get a little deeper with our lovely railings. Again here, right, and then down below. These ones. And then some of the posts on here, of course, get deeper. And fill those in. Again, it's not super perfect, but you get the idea. You got these posts here. For the perspective on one side of the post, it's really, really dark. I'm going to finish that in a second. I'm going to fill these in down here. There's some posts here. And just take, this is a Princeton 8 long round, by the way. Just going to fill in some of the shadows that were happening. So I'm just taking the brush and going like this. Dry brushing. These posts remain. Not many shadows on this guy. Just simple, go down here in the line here. Right? Goes across. And of course, this one. This one stays light still. And you can barely see this, you know, we have to go back and add some greens in between some of these. Kind of goofy coming out on the bottom here. Just gonna add a little bit more green. And I'll darken up that post. And put some dark, like you're not really seeing too much of the post on that side. You can imagine it. I think I might have painted over some of it, but that's okay. And I'm gonna take some of the same color and add some more depth because it's really kind of light. I'm doing some dry brushing. So dry brushing is you're really not hitting, you're not filling in the paper with a lot of wet paint. It's a little thicker sometimes, but it can be a loose paint too. But you would have to like, see, I'm going to grab this colors again. You have to tap it on a paper towel so it becomes dry, and then you can do the dry texture for the road. Get a little bit darker here, and there's a little bit of texture happening here for the shadow. Now our road in the background needs a little bit of color. It's very white. We'll just add a little bit of gray here for the shadow, going up over into the tree area to make it make sense. It gets a little bit deeper. Oops, a little too dark. Back here and in here. And then we're just going to finish off with a tree, a birch tree. So I'm going to water this down so it's a pale gray. And you see the branches. The Princeton 8 long round is a great brush for this, but you can use liner brush too to make really skinny branches. And fill this birch tree because it's not bright white, but it's light. And then we let this dry and we can add in some of those little lines you see. Meanwhile, we can just take this and use the little divots we see in the little area here, and down below here there is a pole here, and there's little marks like in the pond, just little feet prints or what if something was there. Just go like that. And this gets a little bit darker again still here. All right, and I'm just going to fill in this a little bit more back here. Fairly light. I'm going to add a little more gray in there. Wasn't making sense. This is dry. We take some thick paint, ultramarine blue deep, burnt sienna. Get it like almost like blacky brown, and we'll just do the little notches that you see in a birch tree, left and right. Left, right. See? Put some of those little knots. Then you know it's a birch tree. And then I would take like a liner brush and just finish her off with all the lovely little branches. and call it a day. So little branches coming up this way that we see kind of going out. Some down. You can add some leaves to these too. Little teeny ones. Same thing here. These ones are coming down, out. Some branches. I think there was a little branch this way actually. And then of course here. And we have like a nice muted tone. Looks like late summer afternoon, kind of winding down. Pretty little landscape. I think I got a little bit deeper here, the color, so you can see the branch. Make that a little bit darker. And then of course there's one here. I'm gonna put some branches off that one. Last little detail, I'm gonna just reflect. I'm gonna grab some of this burnt sienna. Maybe mix it. There's a little reflection of some of the mountain here. I'm just gonna go the little lines. Boom. You could probably put some like grasses coming out of that water too. Maybe. Yeah. Little. And I'll just do a little bit more marks here for texture. We can go back in here and add a little bit more depth with the side of the pole on this side. It's a little bit darker on that side. And here, going down. Just little tiny details that make it interesting. And then same thing here. I've lost some of my pole on this side, but that's okay. You can't win them all. And just play around with adding a little bit more back here. Little doodads. Again, not perfect, but cute. So I hope you enjoy this little tutorial. If you have any questions, leave in the comment section. You know, you don't have to paint it blue. You can keep it white like you see in the photograph. You can, this is kind of like a pond and an ocean, so you don't see like ripples in it. You know, all that good stuff. Consider becoming a patron if you love my channel, you like what I do here, and you want to support my channel. We have extra tutorials there. We have weekly exclusive tutorials there and extended tutorials from these ones. So I really appreciate it if you would like to be a Patreon member and support my channel, which I appreciate. I'm just going to add a little bit more depth back here. And then we'll be done. Voila. All right, guys. Thank you guys for being supportive to my channel, and I hope to speak to you soon. And if you have any questions, leave in the comment section, and take care. Have a great day.